Hi, Shane Session here to talk about something that I feel kind of needs to be addressed. Oftentimes, when people like myself or other educators post different things about drums, a lot of the comments that we get are that your drums sound awful or whatever. Now, I have an entire array of snare drums and I throw up different drums based on what I'm going to play, or if I'm playing a gig, I take out a snare that I think is appropriate for that gig. But I feel like most drummers are have their blinders on and just look for one particular sound, and that's just not the way it is. If you're going to be a gigging drummer, you know what, you might have one kit, but you might have to tune it differently to play jazz, or it's based on where you're going to play, how loud that volume is, how loud the volume you have to play for that gig is, what head's going to be appropriate, and so your drum sounds are constantly changing. But the other thing is there's also a multitude of sounds you can get from a snare drum. I don't like to have my snare wires super tight. If you hit them hard enough, trust me, you know, it's going to work for you. If I play it quietly enough, I can get a nice buzz. If I was going to play, let's say, something that's like a possible New Orleans or Dixieland feel, I'm not going to play in the middle of the drum as if I was playing a marching type feel, where I'm going to get the driest sound. Or a rock beat, sometimes we put right in the middle, even if it's a rim shot, to try to get the less ring. But if I don't have any muffling on this drum, if I come off center, you immediately get more resonance and more ringing out of the drum, which is appropriate for certain sounds. If I'm going to do a New Orleans type thing, I'm not going to play in the center of the drum. I'm going to play off center and maybe do something like in that case, I'm keeping time, but I'm also buzzing. So that's not it's a special technique, if you want to call it that. It's really loose. Technique has nothing to do with feel. You'll see all kinds of fantastic drummers that aren't using quote unquote proper technique. You do what you need to do to get the sound you want. Jazz players turn their hand upside down. On the drum set, we go between, it doesn't matter if it's German grip, French grip, you know, hybrid grip, whatever. I mean, you'll see people completely turn their hand upside down to get certain ride cymbal sounds or snare drum sounds. Do what you need to do to get the sound you want. John Bonham often played with his snare hand and thumb up French grip, you know. But this particular beat I'm playing, I'm just basically opening my hand instead of, now if I want a tighter feel, I can maybe go. Longer, I can drag it across the head. You should do whatever you want to do to get the sound that you want to get without being, you know, complained about on social media. So give it a try. Technique, great for certain things, needed for certain things, but feel, do what you need to get the feel. You look at certain drummers, Stanton Moore, John Vodakovich, Levon Helm. Like I said, you can even go into a lot of the classic jazz drummers and Art Blakey and Jack DeJohnette and watch them, and you'll see Jack DeJohnette play with a completely open hand sometimes. You go for what gives you the sound you want. Try it.